Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Good day to all of us. Ako po si Deborah Garcia and welcome to this series of lessons where you will learn not just the theories and form of the language but also the function and the usage. In the previous lesson, we learned about how to say might and might not in Tagalog, or baka at baka hindi. And today we are going to learn how to say should and should not, or dapat at hindi dapat. So just like in English, should or dapat is an example of a modal verb. I am not sure what is the exact translation of the word modal verb in Tagalog because I haven't encountered this terminology in Tagalog. But just like in English, when we say should or dapat, it means that we are giving a recommendation or an advice. And of course, when we say should not or hindi dapat, it means something is not a good idea. Alright, I prepared 5 sentences for you here and I use should and should not, or dapat at hindi dapat. We are going to look at the pattern so that you would know where to place dapat and hindi dapat, and this is according to your subject. So let us go ahead and read these sentences first, and then we are going to analyze each sentence. So it says here, mga dapat at hindi dapat gawin pagkatapos bunutan ng ngipin. Maybe some of the words are already familiar to you. So dapat at hindi dapat. It's plural, right? The mga. When we say mga, then it always indicates that something is plural. So that's why we have 5 items here, because there are 5 things. We did not put the word things here, like 5 things or things that you should, because when we say mga, it's understood that there are many items. So things with S, things that you should and should not do. Gawin is do, to do. So things that you should and should not do. Pagkatapos, I think we used this word before. Pagkatapos means after, right? After, bunutan ng ngipin. This word here, ngipin, I think you're familiar with this. Ngipin is teeth or tooth, singular, tooth. Bunutan, from the word bunot. Bunot means to extract. So bunutan means extraction. So tooth, extraction. Things that you should and should not do after tooth extraction. Okay, so these are the things that you should and should not do. Number 1, dapat kang magpahinga. Dapat, so should. Ka, if you notice, I used one subject for everything. So ka, though this ka here is with ng, it's just a connector. It functions as the connector, but when ng is separate, like for example, if I just, like this, nang matigas. So this one is like, it would function like an object marker, or sometimes it functions as a preposition like of. Okay, so but here it is a connector, because when you don't put ng, usually it would sound broken. Though for conversational Filipino, they are not very particular with this one. Some of the people would not use ng. They would just say dapat ka magpahinga. It's acceptable because it's conversational. But for when you are writing it down, you should put this ng. So dapat kang magpahinga. This is a positive statement. It's should, right? Ka is actually ikaw. It's the same as ikaw. So ikaw and ka are the same. By the way, later I'm going to explain the difference between these two, because one of my students asked, like, what's the difference? How do I know if I should use ka or ikaw? Because you said these two are just the same. It's you in English, and that is the singular you, because for the plural you, for Tagalog, we use kayo, and that means you. But in English, you just use you. So it could be, you could mean singular, you're talking to one person, or plural, you're talking to a group of people. But for Tagalog, we use ikaw or ka if we mean you, singular, and we use kayo if we mean you as in plural you. Okay, so let's go back to this sentence. Magpahinga. The root word is pahinga, rest. Noun, pahinga, rest. But in verb, when you say to rest, then you put mag, then it'll become a verb. So you should rest. So after tooth extraction, you should rest. Okay? Number 2, it says here, hindi ka dapat manigarilyo. This sentence is a negative one. It's hindi dapat. But why did we separate this one? We inserted ka here in between the hindi and dapat. So actually, when your subject is a pronoun like this one, pronoun you, when you say the negative statement, you cannot put it after the complete word should not. So you say, you cannot say, hindi dapat ka manigarilyo. It's broken. So the pattern is, if your statement is positive, dapat, then you immediately put the subject, the pronoun as your subject. So you put it immediately here. But if the statement is negative, which means you use should not, then you need to separate hindi and dapat, and then you insert the pronoun here as your subject. But I'm going to show you another sentence where we did not use a pronoun, like we use a proper noun, like a name of a person, or if we are going to use improper nouns but not pronouns, okay, later. So hindi ka dapat manigarilyo. Manigarilyo means from the word sigarilyo, cigarette. So hindi ka dapat, you should not smoke. So you should not smoke. You should not smoke. Okay, that's sigarilyo. Number 3, this one, positive statement again. Look, dapat kang uminom ng maraming tubig. We'll stop there. This is a compound sentence. So, positive, should. And then you should inom. I think we use this verb so many times already. Inom is to drink, right? Uminom. Dapat kang, you should drink marami. What's marami again? A lot, right? Marami. You should drink a lot of tubig. What is tubig? Water. So you should drink a lot of water. Pero, what is pero? We use that several times. But, right? So you should drink a lot of water. But, hindi ka dapat gumamit ng straw. So in Tagalog or in conversational Filipino, we still use the English term straw. You know straw, right? The drinking straw. So what does it say? But you should not, gumamit is from the word gamit. Gamit. Use. But you should not use straw or drinking straw. So you need to drink a lot of water, but you should not use the drinking straw. It's not allowed. Okay, number 4, positive statement again. Dapat kang uminom, so same, uminom. Dapat kang uminom ng gamot sa sakit. Now, so you should uminom, you would say drink, but actually, we are talking about gamot. Gamot is medicine. So in English, when you drink water, you use the verb drink. But when you are referring to a medicine, you say take, right? You take a medicine, drink it, drink the water, and then with the medicine. But in Tagalog, we use uminom for drinking, and we also use inom for taking a medicine. So this verb uminom here means drink. This one is take, medicine. So you should take medicine for the pain. Sakit is pain. So you should take a medicine for the pain. And then last one, hindi ka dapat kumain ng matigas na pagkain. So negative again, hindi ka dapat. You should not kain. What is kain? Eat. So you should not eat matigas. It's an adjective. Hard. It means hard. Matigas means hard. And pagkain is food. So root verb kain. Kain means to eat. Pagkain, it's from the same root word kain. When you say pagkain, it means food. So kain means eat. Pagkain means food. So you should not eat hard food. Okay, let's go ahead and look at some sentences where we did not use ka, or we did not use a pronoun. So as a summary, we would say that for positive statement, you put your pronoun immediately after the modal verb. And for negative statement, you insert your subject, if your subject is a pronoun, in between the hindi and the dapat. Okay, now let us compare these two sets of sentences that I prepared for you. So number one is to give you an example on how your sentence would look like if your subject is not a pronoun. So sentence number one is a positive statement and our subject is Linda. And here it's a negative statement and our subject is the food, the pagkain. So number one, first sentence, we say, dapat magpahinga si Linda. So, dapat magpahinga si Linda. What if we are going to convert this into a negative statement where we would say, hindi dapat? So, we'd say, hindi dapat magpahinga si Linda. It's the same arrangement. So, you would not insert Linda in between hindi and the dapat, right? Unlike when our subject was ka or ikaw or you, then we put it in between hindi and dapat. So for negative statement, we just say hindi dapat, and then magpahinga si Linda. So Linda should not rest. I just reuse the words that I used in the previous slide so that I won't have to explain to you the meaning of it. I hope you still remember the meaning of those words. So pahinga is rest, right? So dapat magpahinga si Linda or hindi dapat magpahinga si Linda. It's the same. So, and here, we have a negative statement here. We'd say, hindi dapat matigas ang pagkain. Hard food, right? So, hindi dapat. The food should not be hard. The food should not be hard. How about if we are going to convert this into a positive statement? So we would say, dapat not matigas, right? Because after tooth extraction, you cannot eat hard food. So what is the opposite of the word matigas? The opposite of this is malambot. Malambot means soft. So we would say, dapat malambot ang pagkain. Positive. Hindi dapat matigas ang pagkain. Negative. So it's the same because our subject is a common noun, pagkain or food. Then we should not insert it here. We cannot say hindi ang pagkain dapat matigas. No. We only insert it here if our subject is a pronoun. Alright, in the second set, I also have two sentences here to explain to you the difference between ka and ikaw. Look at this. Hindi ka dapat manigarilyo. Negative statement. So we inserted the ka here. And then here, it's also a negative statement, but we use ikaw. So ka and ikaw are the same, right? It's you, singular. So we say, ikaw ay hindi dapat manigarilyo. What do you think is the difference between these two sentences? Though both of them have the same meaning, both of them are negative statements, but one used the ka and one used the ikaw. So the first one is, hindi ka dapat manigarilyo. I explained it to you. It's a pronoun. The first sentence is actually how we say it in conversational Filipino. If you remember the previous lessons I had in the previous series where I explained the sentence patterns, I said there that when we use this auxiliary verb I, So it means is, are, am, was, were. So this is an auxiliary verb in Filipino or in Tagalog. And we only use this when we are conversing or when we are talking in formal written Filipino. So when you are talking, so it means it's conversational, you should not use this pattern where you would need an auxiliary verb. So, ikaw can only be used in the beginning of the sentence. This is you, singular, pronoun. So, it's only being used here because it would need an auxiliary verb. This without the auxiliary verb is broken. So this one, ikaw hindi dapat manigarilyo is broken and it's faulty. It's not a complete sentence. Just like in English, when you say something, for example, Jack is running, and you cannot say Jack running. That's how it sounds in Filipino if you don't use your auxiliary verb, just like in English. So, but then when you are doing the conversational Filipino, since we are not using this, no auxiliary verb, then you cannot use this pronoun ikaw, but we use the conversational form ka. And ka is not written in the beginning of the sentence. I'll show you another sentence with this subject ka, but it's not about should and should not. Just to let you see how it looks like, even if without the should and should not. Okay, look at these two sentences here. It's very short and very simple. So it only consists of two words in here and then three words here. This one, matalino ka. What do you mean by matalino? Talino means intelligence. That's the root word. Matalino is an adjective, right? And then our subject is ka or you. So it means you are smart. But here, this is the conversational Filipino. We do not use are. So in English, you say you are smart. But this one, we only say smart you. So no auxiliary verb. But here, when we use ikaw, then we'd say ikaw ay matalino. You are smart. This is how we construct our sentence in formal Filipino, and it has the same pattern as in English language. So subject, verb, and this one is your adjective. But in conversational Filipino, we only have the adjective and the subject. And that's all for today. I hope you learned something. Please do not forget to like this video and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. By the way, my lessons in the previous series are already available in Gobi Languages app if you're using an iPhone, or if you want to access their website, it's in gobilanguages.com. I prepared some exercises for you to do there, so maybe you want to check it out. I hope to see you again in the next lesson. Bye!